Hi everyone and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the EVE Online markets. I'm your host delonewolf, and while we head over to the couch, maybe just a quick word on a game my brother and myself are keeping an eye on. It's called Arch-Age. It's a Korean MMO that is currently in open beta in Korea, but there are plans for North American and US launches. We just don't really know a lot of details on that yet, but to me and my brother it seems like a very interesting game, because although it's a fantasy setting, it has a lot of sandboxing elements where you'll be able to build your own house, and if you're in a larger guild, your own castle on separate continents, own small islands basically by colonizing them and stuff like that. So if you want to learn more about that game, go and check out some of the YouTube videos. All that stuff will be in Korean, but it does look to us like a game with a lot of potential, and it's something we're keeping an eye out, and I just wanted to throw that out to you guys. Right now we're going to have a look at the markets as always. Let's start up with Tritanium. Let's have a quick look at that chart. Not very visible. Maybe I can see a couple of lower yellow and red lines there, but I'm guessing that there's like a 60 is corrupt data point all the way at the tail end of the chart, making it difficult to gauge what's actually going on. So let's have a quick look at prices then in station, in system and station. 607 and 6, so that's back up. Last week Tritanium had dipped below 6 ISK, and now it's back above 6 ISK, so pretty much where it was before that small dip we had noticed last week. So let's see on the other minerals if we can see the same thing. Well, over here the 5-day moving average still below the 20-day moving average. So let's see what the prices are in station of pyrite. 1384 and 14.0 buyers pretty much 1350 or 1378. I think that's still down a little bit. Prices below 14 ISK. It's been just above 14 ISK for quite a while for pyrite, but it doesn't look like it's plunging off a cliff either. Let's take a look at Mexalon, which is currently going for 55.28 in station and 54 for the buy orders. That's definitely been dropping. Yep, you can clearly see that on the 5-day moving average that Mexalon is dropping quite substantially, and the 20-day moving average has begun dropping as well. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see if it also translates in some of the other minerals. 5-day moving average dropping for isogen as well. Let's have a look at megasite. That one seems to be holding up, although the 5-day moving average is also below the 20-day moving average, and that one has started moving down. Let's have a look at Noxium. Slight downward trend. So yeah, pretty interesting. Some of the minerals are dropping. Mexalon is dropping more substantially than the rest. And Tritanium and pyrite do seem to be holding up. Actually, Tritanium seems to have recovered from last week. So if you're mining Veldspar, you could still be doing okay. But overall, for miners, you have to keep an eye on those prices, and keep in mind that the minerals are dropping just a little bit at the moment. Nothing too serious yet, in my opinion, but it's something to keep an eye out for. And let's move on to Tech One Ships. The Drake, which has recovered almost from its dip, where it was, I would say, around 60. No, what would that be? 54, 53, 54. It's now back around that price. I think a lot of this dip was speculation on how terrible the missile nerf was going to be, but turns out stuff is still okay, and the Drake is back up above 50 million, 51,400. You can buy a couple in Jita, and the buy orders are almost at 50 million again. So that has made a nice recovery, although not at exactly the same price it used to be before the nerf was announced. Have a quick look at a Maelstrom then. That chart still holding on as well after also a slight uptick, which could also have been here because of the expansion. Just some more demand because more people are rejoining the game or joining the game, and obviously Tech 1 ships are the first ones that they'll start buying and start using. So it just could mean increased demand, but I would guess that that the Drake chart is more pronounced because it has the added effect of the missile nerf in there as well. So pretty interesting overall. But yeah, it's a pretty stable market at the moment, and if you want to make some money, you have to buy a decent amount of Tech 1 ships before the expansion. This could be a nice lesson for the next one, of course, if you're an aspiring trader. These charts always offer a lot of good information on what to do when the next expansion comes. Let's have a quick look at the Guardian then. Still a very corrupted data point at 600 million there. And at the tail end, you're not seeing that same wave pattern you can see here, up and down and up and down. I can see three tops here, but over here at the tail end, it's not showing up in the same manner. Just a very small top on the 20-day moving average, and maybe a bit more pronounced one on the 5-day moving average, but it's definitely not in as big a band as before, between 120 and 130s where it's been hovering, maybe even 125, 130. So a lot less variation. Still, we had, I think there were like no more buy orders last time. So right now in station, Guardians are going for 130 and buy orders for 126. Just a 4 million ISK margin. That's not the 10-12 million ISK we saw, which made the Guardian trade worthy. So at the moment, it's not the Guardian where I would invest most of my money. I'd wait for a bigger margin. Let's have a look. Maybe do I have any other? No, so I'll have to go to the other tab, have a quick look at the other advanced cruisers, logistics. Maybe I'll have a quick look at what the Oneros is doing. That one looks healthier for traders, 121.7 and 112 for the buyers, so that's a 9 million ISK margin. And so you can look at the 1 year chart. You can still see a couple of small tops, and especially on the 5-day moving average, this one is still moving up and down quite a lot. So yeah, the Oneros, you could do some trading in there. Let's have a look at the Basilisk chart. Well, that he's been dropping, but let's see where he is at the moment. 127, 121, a bit less trade worthy in my opinion, and also less volatility after the expansion. But before that, you could clearly see on the 5-day moving average all those small tops. And finally, maybe a look at the Scimitar, which, whoa, is going down. So you can see those three major tops there. And then right now, it's been holding on. And on the 5-day moving average, there were quite some variations as well. But after the expansion, you know, just starting from December, a clear downward trend straight down. So I'm expecting, yep, this margin to be even smaller than the Basilisk one. Well, it's pretty much the same, 127, 121, and then for the Scimitar, 127, 121 as well. Pretty much the same there. So, Take 2 market, I'm not sure what's going on with the logistics ships, but at the moment I would say it's the Oneros that's the most trade-worthy because it has the largest margin, and there are still some changes in the 5-day moving average, not a clear trend for the Oneros. So if you're a trader, that's where I'd be looking at the moment. Let's move on to the Tech 3 market with the melted nano ribbons. It's known as Series Uptick after the expansion, but it does seem to be stalling a little bit as the 5-day moving average has known a dip and then an uptrend again. Let's have a quick look at the prices. 5.4 million and 5.1, almost 2 million for the buyers, so that's not a lot of margin, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see a little bit if the 5-day moving average goes back up, or if 5.5 million, something like that, is going to be the new price for melted nano ribbons after its correction on, well, pretty much the lowest point in a year and by a significant margin, well below 5 million. Let's have a look at the Tengu then, how that one's been faring. Going back up, but here that same 5-day moving average trend with a top, a small correction, and then a top slightly higher. So not sure. Let's see what the prices are. 120, 92, 186 for the buyers. So definitely, if you had bought a couple Tengu at 185, you would have been able to make some money. But overall it seems to me like the uptrend is hesitating a bit to materialize in a significant manner. And same with the Loki, also a smaller uptrend, but it's definitely there. But already the 5-day moving average has corrected and the 20-day moving average is flattening out. So to me it looks like the tech tree prices are going to stabilize a bit for the next week. Caliente fuel blocks, small upticks but nothing serious and still holding on around 13k. And the technetium probably still exactly the same, yep. Just below 80,000, very low historical price. And like I've said a few times before, unless CCP announces any changes, I don't think there's going to be any change in these markets. And so I wouldn't invest any money in that. Just yet, although of course these are historically low prices. If you want to stock up on some of this stuff, that might be a good idea. But of course you never know what exactly CCP will come out with and what the impact on the prices will be beforehand. And finally we'll go for the Plex. Let's see what that one's been doing. 5-day moving average has known a significant dip. I mean, it's departed quite a lot from the 20-day moving average, pulling it down even more. It even took a dip close to 550 million, I would say. So let's have a quick look at the market data. 568 for the sellers, 553 for the buyers. I think a bit up from last week. So yeah, last week you might have been able to buy a couple ones at very good prices. Is this 550 going to become the new bottom, where I thought 585 was going to be it? Possibly. Looks like that might be the place where it will bounce off, where traders will say, hell yeah, I'm going to start stocking up on Plex. But yep, you can probably still get some buy orders cashed in at below 560, which in my opinion is not that bad of a price, if you can of course wait for a medium term profits. I would say by the time the next expansion is going to hit, we'll see 600 million, and stocking up on some Plexes after this downtrend right here I think is a good idea. I'll see if I do that myself just yet, or if I have other stuff to do with my ISK. But for the Plex, yeah, that correction, it came with a delay after the expansion. But the 5-day moving average already back up, and prices back up a little bit from last week as well. So if you want to buy Plex, I would say this is the time to do it. As always, this is just some advice, don't take this as gospel. Do your own research, but that's what I would do. And yep, I'll see you all next time.